Well, there are a number of small different things that are happening in the Middle East that tell me that U.S. President Donald Trump and company are making some big waves. And most of this is being done behind the scenes. In one Jerusalem Post article, it says that 5 Palestinian cities to expand into Area C. And this on the heels of U.S. envoy Jason Greenblatt, who will be in the region very shortly. And this is what the article says: the expansion plan fits into the contours of an emerging U.S. effort to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict as part of a vision of a wider peace deal that would involve some of the Sunni Arab states. Now, if you know the Bible, you know that the Bible says in Daniel 9:27 that this confirmed covenant would be between Israel, the Antichrist, and many. So even though I think that the Israeli-Palestinian issue is somewhat prophetic, it doesn't necessarily have to be solved right away. In fact, I think that's going to be part of the eventual time period in which the Bible says that this peace accord or confirmed covenant would last for 7 years. I think that's how long it's going to take for them, or at least that's what they project, to bring the Arab neighbors in that they want to bring in, and also to eventually turn over the West Bank to a Palestinian state and to make East Jerusalem, or parts of East Jerusalem, the capital city of Palestine. And going on with the article, it says the U.S. wants Israel and the PA and some of the Sunni Arab states to take steps to benefit one of the other sides of this triangle, thereby signifying improving the atmosphere to facilitate the renewal of negotiations. Washington is believed to be pressing Israel to moderate settlement construction and enable more Palestinian development in Area C. So that's what they're doing, and also at the same time, there's another report that's surfacing that Israel and Saudi Arabia are talking openly about ties economically. And reading from that article, it says Israel and Saudi Arabia are in talks to establish formal economic ties, and preliminary agreements could be coming soon, the London-based Times newspaper reported on Saturday. So this is just another effect as to the Trump and associates visit that took place last month. And this is what it says. It says the newspaper said that Jerusalem and Riyadh are examining the gradual development of relations. In the first stage, the sides were looking into the possibility of allowing Israeli businesses to operate in Saudi Arabia, as well as the option of allowing Israeli airlines to fly in Saudi airspace. Now, of course, Saudi Arabia and their officials have denied the report, but the bottom line is Saudi Arabia and Israel already have military ties, and in the background have other types of ties as well. Recently, however, there have been numerous reports of secret contacts between Israel and several Sunni Arab states with which there are no formal relations. Such meetings have also taken place in European countries, and one American report claimed that a senior Saudi official recently visited Israel and met senior officials. It is believed in Jerusalem that the Arab states are at a stage in which they will begin to normalize their relations with Israel, even before any progress has been made with the Palestinian Arabs. The U.S. administration is building its plan to renew peace talks with the Palestinian Authority based on an agreement by the Sunni states to begin the first phase of normalization of relations with Israel as a step that will bring Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the negotiating table with PA Chairman Mahmoud Abbas. Now here's a report by Debica File that is a little bit more in detail. It says, U.S. President Donald Trump's goal of generating a rapid improvement of Israel's ties with the Arab world, including the Palestinians in 2018, is not just up to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian Authority Chairman Mahmoud Abbas, but depends largely on how the Trump administration handles the continuing conflict between Qatar and its powerful Arab opponents, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. A complex situation has risen in the last few days regarding the U.S. diplomacy for bringing Israel and the Palestinians aboard a peace process. The signs of movement of this score fluctuate between crisis and some progress. Of course, number one would be the crisis in Gaza, where Israel supposedly claimed that they were going to shut the lights out and cut off the electricity for much of the Gaza Strip. And on top of that, Egypt is also trying to put some pressure on Hamas as well. What Egypt's trying to do is they are trying to get Hamas to sever ties with Qatar themselves. But at this time, that's not taking place. Now, here's something that you heard about last week, but may or may not be true. It says U.S. Secretary of State Tillerson this week informed the Senate that the Palestinian Authority had agreed to halt its payments to the families of Palestinian terrorists who were killed while carrying out attacks against Israelis. Palestinian officials, no doubt, let this be understood to demonstrate their willingness to go along with the Trump peace initiative, without, however, have any real intention of following through. But we'll have to wait and see how that actually turns out. That would be a big step for the Palestinians if, in fact, they did begin cutting off the payments to families of terrorists. Now, in the second half of this report, they did give some predictions that I thought were quite interesting. It says the media reports and the findings of Arab research institutes add up to the following predictions on the fate of the negotiations generated by the Trump administration between Israel and the Arab world. And the first one is this: sometime during 2018, a showcase summit will be staged for Trump, Netanyahu, and leading Arab rulers like Saudi Arabia, King Solomon, Egyptian President El-Sisi, and the United Arab Emirates Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. I guess that's how you pronounce his name anyway. It says they will publish a joint declaration signaling the phased normalization of relations with Israel by such preliminary steps as the exchange of economic and business delegations, the opening of trade offices, and of Arab skies to Israeli commercial flights. None of these researchers is clear about the Palestinian role in this event. So what they're saying is that the Israeli and Arab ties are going to go forward. Whether or not the Palestinians will play a role in this event is unknown at this time. So as we know, the Trump administration is going to be getting together with Israeli representatives and Palestinian representatives in D.C. sometime in September. Come sometime early during 2018, they're predicting that a joint declaration was going to be declared that would phase in normalization of relations with Israel and key Arab nations. And on Israel's side, it says that meanwhile, Israel will make concessions toward improving the lives of ordinary Palestinians, such as removing checkpoints, issuing building permits for Palestinian towns, and more jobs in Israel. Israel and the Palestinian Authority will expand their security cooperation. The Palestinians will be persuaded to cease their incitement against the Jewish state and stop payouts to the families of convicted Palestinian terrorists and other security offenders. So they do predict that this will be something that will end these security payouts to terrorist families of those who have died. They also believe that direct Israeli-Palestinian negotiations will ensue without preconditions on either side and expand with Arab governments sitting in. So it looks like to me that the Arab world is going to normalize relationships with Israel first and sit in on the proceedings as Israel and the Palestinians try to work out their differences toward a peace proposal. And you should understand what this is saying. This peace accord with many is going to start the peace process, and the total peace is going to be phased in over time. You know, the only thing I'm waiting for is for someone to come out and say that this phased in timeline is going to be in the 7-year period. Now here's something else. It says, at the end of a period of some years, and again, we don't know what those years are, but the Bible says it's going to be 7 years. This process will mature into a discussion of the core issues of the dispute: Palestinian statehood, future borders, settlements, Jerusalem, and refugees. In other words, the year 2018 will see the building of normal relations between Israel and the Arab countries, to be followed at a later date by the Israeli-Palestinian peace process. President Trump has clearly seized on relations with Riyadh, Cairo, and Abu Dhabi as a lever for pushing Israel and the Palestinians into peace talks. The idea is simple. Israel's improved ties with the Arab world will resonate positively on Israeli-Palestinian relations. That appears to be Trump's formula for peace. But there is a catch. It depends heavily on the U.S. president maintaining good relations with the Arab world in the long term. Well, I'm not sure what that is going to happen as far as the Israeli-Palestinian peace process is concerned, but it sounds like to me, in a nutshell, that very soon there's going to be a declaration that there is peace between Israel and the greater modern Arab world, and that's going to kick off a long-term peace proceeding in which Israel and the Palestinians will sit down and talk about the West Bank, borders, refugees, and the fate of Jerusalem. And somewhere in there, I believe that they're going to negotiate that the temple will be rebuilt. Now, as I've said many times, I don't know who's going to bring this peace, but right now, the Trump administration is in the driver's seat. So we simply cannot ignore the fact that they could very well be the ones who will bring peace to the region. And the formula for this peace seems to be running in a line straight with what the Bible has to say. Number one, that this peace would start with a peace with many and Israel and the Antichrist. Secondly, it's projected that it will take many years, possibly 7 years, as described what's in the Bible, to be completed, and with Israel to give up parts of Jerusalem to be the capital of the Palestinian state. Now, they're projecting this to start as early as 2018. So we could be in the beginning stages of what the Bible calls a peace accord with many that will end with a 7-year time period known as the tribulation period. Now, certainly, I believe, and most Bible-believing prophecy experts do believe, that the rapture will take place before this. Now, certainly, there are no direct signs to the tribulation or to the rapture of the church, but there are signs that will tell us that we are leading into the tribulation period. And the main sign, as we've stated many times, is in Daniel 9:27, where this peace accord would take place. Now, we don't know when the rapture is going to take place, but we can know that we are living in the season, and I believe that we are living in that season. And we are not to be blind or to not see the day coming. I think right now we can honestly say that we can see the day coming. And if you don't know the Lord, I would suggest that you make that decision as soon as you possibly can. Because if we are living in the season and this peace accord is upon us, the rapture of the church can't be too far away. So I would suggest that you come to the Lord and ask Him to save you today. Don't delay, don't put it off, because your time is running out. And you Christians, the same clock is ticking for those who that are lost, and they're about ready to miss the rapture of the church and go into the tribulation period. You need a copy or multiple copies of my Tribulation Period Survival Guide. Now, there are 2 versions that I have put out. One is a free version. It's written in 9 different languages. You can download this book readily for free. It's the same book as my paperback version, but if you prefer putting a copy in the hands of your lost friend or loved one, get a copy of this paperback version. And if I were you, as I've said, I would get multiple copies so that I could make sure they have this in their hand if, in fact, the rapture does take place. So I'd recommend that you do that as quickly as possible. This situation seems to be moving ahead quicker than we've ever seen before. Well, this is Terry Malone with the Calvary Prophecy Report.